Today, I want to share some of my feelings as a revert Muslim. Actually, it's not an easy process. One of the biggest difficulties I feel is the belief in the existence of God. I grew up in an environment where most of the people around me don't believe in God. And I was taught from my childhood that there were no ghosts and God in the world. And the teachers from the schools trying to use biology and other sciences to explain to us the death and the life of all forms of life. So I have been lived with this belief system without God for many years. It's really difficult to believe in God because God is unseen. Especially when I was in difficulties, I tried to ask God for help and I pray. Through the prayer, I wanted God to help me to change the situation. But, after prayers, nothing changed and I was still in hardship. Then at that time, it was really difficult for me to believe in the existence of God. Allah knows everything. He really knows that recently I have received a lot of judgmental, even hatred comments and messages from both Muslim and non-Muslim. So he asked me if I have any regret. I thought about it and I think if there is any regret, it is I didn't meet Allah earlier in my life. If I could meet Him earlier, my life will be different. It doesn't mean that I don't enjoy my life now. It means that I would take less detours in the process in finding my inner peace and my self-acceptance. And this is something I want for you guys. To be honest, finding that inner peace is much more challengeable for people like us who growing up in atheist families and also in an environment where there is a tendency that people think material perceptions and also physical comfort is more important than spiritual values. In our growing process, there are a lot of times we may feel we need a shoulder to cry on. This need is right, but also it may lead us to wrong people or wrong methods that may be creating more chaos or traumas in our life. No matter you want to heal your intimate relationship or you lost the pain of someone or past traumas and so on. Take myself as an example. In the past few years, I spent a lot of time and money on things like therapy, meditation, traveling, and yoga, and so on to heal myself. They helped, but none of this truly made me feel constant peace until I started to believe in Allah and pray. Because the true inner peace doesn't come from the outside things. It comes from within ourselves, within our hearts. And building a relationship with Allah requires our hard work. It's a process of facing our fears, our doubts, our difficult questions, and also change ourselves inside and out. And it took me years to realize that it is okay that I cannot find a shoulder to cry on, because I always have a ground to put my head down and shed my tears to Allah. But our final meetings with Allah, it's an arrangement of Him. And no matter how many detours we take in the process, it's worth it as long as we finally go back to Him and to our own inner heart. We know we need to focus more on developing the relationship with God, not with religion, and prayer is the best way to build that connection more. But as a new revert Muslim, I feel it's really difficult to have a deep talk with God every time through every prayer. I maybe have 3 to 4 times of deep talks with God since I started to pray every day last year. I felt quite different in my heart. I feel very peaceful, hopeful, feel so relaxed and sure every time after I had a deep talk with Him. But it's pretty much depending on the situation of the prayer. The state of prayer can be very easily disturbed by a lot of factors. For example, the noise of the children, the knocking on the door, the ringing of the mobile phones, or various thoughts just came to my mind sometimes. So I realized that I really need to prepare to remove all those distractions, physically and mentally, or even go on fasting before prayer to make sure that I can really be very focused during the prayer to have a deep talk with God. As a Chinese growing up in an atheist family, why did I convert into Islam? Here's my story. 3 years ago, I quit from my job and I started to think about the life meanings. At that time, I was not happy, neither grateful. So I tried a lot of spiritual healing courses, but slowly I found a lot of people, they just want to make money in the name of healing. So I started to travel by myself to different countries, looking for a change. Last year when I was traveling in Mongolia in China, I met a very beautiful mosque, seeing a lot of Chinese Muslims praying there. From that point on, I started to pray during traveling. I talked to Allah when I prayed. I know very little about Islam at that time. However, just felt God was there and He was feeling what I was feeling. Then I returned to my city and I continued to go to a mosque and pray there. And that time was when I started to convert into Islam. We are not happy in our life because there are so many needs that are not being met. But praying for this from Allah, from God, will help us to build a relationship with Him. And hearing from God and doing what as God guides us to do will lead us to a deeper connection to Him. So my personal needs for spiritual growth lead me to God. How has converting to Islam changed my life? My attitude towards life dilemma totally changed, and I want to use acceptance, peace, actions, and gratefulness to describe the whole path. When we encounter life dilemma, we always ask, why me? Since I converted, I started to pray, I talked to God, and I asked Him, why did He allow all this happening on me? The more I talked to Him, the more self-reflection I did, and the magic words I realized. All the things happening for a reason, and I started to accept the situation. Then I started to release all the negative emotions during the prayer. I also asked God to help me to do the release affirmation. And the more I talked to Him, the more peace came to me. God is not FedEx, and He will not remove our life dilemma and give us whatever we want after our prayer right away. He needs us to take actions. Once we have this mindset, all the things will manifest in our life in different forms to help us to change. We just need to take actions to make positive change. God rewarded me once He saw my actions, and more positive things came to me, and I feel more grateful. This is a forward cycle. The more grateful we are, the more peace and more positive things come to our life. I converted because my heart told me to do so. I know some people, they may research and compare different religions before they convert to make sure they choose the right one. I didn't do it. I feel more like I was chosen by Him. And also I didn't feel like I need a witness ceremony or something like that to make me feel I'm totally changed after I converted into Islam. I'm still myself, and there is a long way to go on the path of achieving a better self that God's want me to be. I don't think that we can choose religion. Even if we choose religion, it's not guaranteed that we will feel the constant inner peace and happiness in our heart.